Okay, real quick before I get into this, I'm working on a thumbnail for the current video I'm about to upload. So if you hear me typing on my laptop, that's what that is. But I'm making this video talking about Florida's apparently is going on a recruiting resurgence. Yesterday I was gonna make a video talking about this today. Florida flipped former Florida State commitment Tramel Jones, quarterback from Florida State. Like I said, I as I was literally getting ready to prepare this video because I was going to talk about that, I got the news that apparently a Mr. Stefan Shivers, former UGA commit defensive lineman, he has flipped to the Florida Gators as well. And not only is Stefan Shivers and Tramel Jones flipping from Florida rivals, Florida State and Georgia, flipping to Florida, Steve Wilfong, who is the top recruiting insider at On3, formerly of 247 Sports, he is predicting that the Florida Gators are also going to flip Daniel Pierre-Louis, a three-star interior offensive lineman from Florida State as well. So Florida, coming off the heels of their victory of LSU, another rival of theirs, they are having a recruiting resurgence right now that they may get three commitments within 1 week, two of which were actually all three of them are flips. Daniel Pierre-Louis, Tramel Jones, and Mr. Stefan Shivers. Stefan Shivers is about 6'4", 6'4.5", 385 pounds. So kind of a Desmond Watson-ish frame. You might want to get him to cut down on that. He's apparently flipping to Florida, and I think that's obviously, as a Florida fan, I think that's good news because Florida's recruiting was dead in the water about a month and a half ago. Florida was as down as 50, down in the 50s per 247 Sports. And with the Tramel Jones flipping, they went up. They went to 43 to now they're 33, and you can imagine their numbers going to go up again because of Stephon Rivers. And if they flip Daniel Pierre-Louis, numbers are going to go up again. So it's a nice resurgence for the recruiting base for the Florida Gators right now, and this is just good news. Like after that big win, it seems like all the good news is starting to pop in now for the Florida Gators. So I'm in the middle of making this thumbnail right now, so I'm like trying to make commentary on this while focusing on my design as well. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in, go on to 247sports.com, and I'm gonna read to you the article that is covering Stephon Shivers flipping his commitment from UGA to Florida. Here it is right here. Gators land commitment from Stephon Shivers per Blake Alderman. Swamp 24/7's top UF Insider. Gators land commitment from defensive lineman Stephon Shivers as early signing day approaches. By the way, for those of you that don't know, because college football is expanding to a 12-team playoff, early signing day is now a few days after, is in the middle of the week after rivalry Saturday, excuse me, which is the final Saturday of the regular season, in which all teams go up against the rivals: Clemson, South Carolina, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, the Iron Bowl, the game between Ohio State and Michigan. You know, Texas and Texas A&M is coming back. So yeah, a lot of big rivalries. Virginia Tech. As the early signing day approaches, the Florida Gators still have some positions left to fill in the meantime. With only one defensive line commitment currently in the 2025 class, that is certainly one of the spots left to address. The Gators took a good step forward coming out of the weekend, not just talking about the victory over LSU, of course. It added a commitment from Brentwood, Tennessee Academy, three-star defensive lineman Stephon Shivers, a day removed from his official visit. So that meant that tells you right there that win against LSU convinced him to come over. The 6'4.5", 384-pounder took an official visit to UF this weekend. His first time ever visiting the Swamp. He had the Gators as his number one school before that visit, and the Gators only widened its lead after hosting him in town for a few days ahead of the weekend. Shivers had been communicating with UF defensive lineman Gerald Chapman, which, by the way, he, along with Will Harris and Ron Roberts, have done a great job rejuvenating this defense. I'm not saying it's an elite defense, but it's a far steps ahead of where it was the last few years. Shivers had been previously committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, and he backed off that pledge before his weekend in Gainesville. The Gators had been in touch with him while his commitment was elsewhere. Florida uses that nose tackle position consistently in their defense, like the traits Shivers has shown. And he fits, based off of his measurements, he fits that kind of nose tackle that they want. Desmond Watson is about 6'3", 380 pounds. Makai Borrell, however you say his name, who they got last year, 6'6", 360 pounds. This dude's 6'4.5", 380 pounds. So he fits that what they want. He told me he sees my potential. Shivers said of Chapman. He said that I'm a big guy, but I can move and bend and all that stuff. He said I'm perfect for what he needs over there. Shivers has been told by the usage of nose position in the defensive scheme. He's seen it with his own eyes and has liked the way the staff has used Desmond Watson up front. Being a big body lineman himself, he sees some similarities between he and Watson's game. I've seen how big he is and how he moves. Shivers said people usually don't move like that at that size. You normally don't see it. Even if you're a big guy, if you have the speed and can move, you can still do it out there for him. So now Florida's class is now up to 14 verbal commitments, and he's the second addition to UF's class in many days. Florida also landed three-star quarterback Tramel Jones on Sunday as well, and now they're up to 14. And Shivers is ranked as the 49th defensive lineman in the recruiting class per 247 Sports. So, well, the good news just keep on going. The good news have been coming on lately strongly for Florida, and I heard a bunch of people at On 3, mainly Corey Bender, who covers the Florida Gators at On 3, has said that that victory over LSU has done wonders. Oh, look at that. Blake Alderman and Zach Blostein, who covers FSU, says that have also made predictions that Daniel Pierre-Louis is going to Florida as well. So a lot of people that are covering Florida's recruiting have said that victory over LSU this past weekend in front of all those recruits was a big boost. It's going to lead to a big boost in Florida's recruiting, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor over these last couple of days. Tramel Jones flipping yesterday, and Mr. Shivers flipping over to Florida as well. Since I'm on the website, I'll read to you the article talking about Florida's flipping the commitment of Tramel Jones Jr. Since I'm already on here, Florida now has a quarterback in the fold of their 2025 recruiting class. The Florida Gators have still been on the search for a quarterback commitment in the class of 2025. Note, they also have a commitment for 2026 as well in Will Griffin. There have been several targets identified by the staff over the course of the year, but the Gators entered the fall season without a signal caller in the fold. That changed this weekend when Jacksonville, Florida's Mandarin quarterback pulled the trigger and committed to UF. Development follows Jones backing off a long-time commitment to Florida State, and also after spending the last few days at Gainesville. And by the way, Tramel Jones, I'm not just saying this because you picked Florida, but I'm also saying it was a good idea to flip away from Florida State because, as you can see, Mark Novell is not the quarterback guru that all those FSU fans thought he was because Jordan Travis made him look good. The Gators extended an offer to the 6-foot, 196-pounder back in the summer of 2022, but saw him commit to their in-state rival of April the following year. That never stopped the Gators from keeping Jones in their sights, and the coaching staff was still able to host him on campus at numerous times over the course of the year. So they've been going after this dude since 2022. And I will say this about Billy Napier. When it comes to recruiting quarterbacks, this guy is very, 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 very vicious. This guy is, I don't want to say vicious, but he's very committed and persistent. They offered him back in 2022. They were still trying to get Jaden Rashada at that time. And then they were also trying to go for DJ Lagway for the following class next year, which they landed DJ Lagway. Jaden Rashada went elsewhere. And they were also trying to get Tramel Jones while aligning themselves with Will Griffin. So if you're talking about stacking quarterback recruits back to back, Billy Napier has done a very good job of that. During that stretch of campus visits, there was buzz that Florida was moving into a position to flip the North Florida prospect, but he would downplay his interest in the orange and blue. Though Florida was trying to host him on an official visit this summer, he didn't end up taking that extended stay trip at the time, and only used an official visit to FSU earlier this season, and exited that stay, stating his recruitment was shut down with the Seminoles. The Gators served once again as a team to watch in his recruitment and became a threat to flip him. Well, when Florida State goes 1-9, that's a big boost. Jones eventually opened up open the process back up, and that didn't take long for him to pull the trigger. The Gators have been looking to improve their depth in the quarterback room in the future around freshman DJ Lagway. And considering the fact that Florida had to play Aiden Warner against Texas, I think they deep down have realized that, hey, while it's isolating these 5-star quarterbacks, we need to make sure that the backups to their backups is capable of playing as well. Because in the NFL, there's this whole 2 quarterbacks means you have none, but in college football, it doesn't really apply. You have to make sure you stack up talent at all positions, not just quarterbacks, because there's so many roster spots, which is going to get extended after this year. The Gators have been looking to improve their depth in the quarterback room. Okay, I already read that part. It's been a tough sell for the staff this cycle to bring someone in following the number one ranked quarterback from the class of 2024 in Lagway, but not something that was a deterrent in Jones's eyes. Well, that's a complete 180 from Austin Simmons Jr., who committed to Florida as a 2025 prospect and was scheduled to flip to not only commit towards Florida, but also reclassify for 2023, but he decided not to because he saw that Florida was so keen in on DJ Lagway. A lot of quarterbacks, when they come, they'll bring up DJ Lagway and what the playing time would be like. Jones told Swamp 24/7 back in June, I've never brought that up, so they brought it up. They were pretty much saying you were never brought up, so you're the guy that we're thinking you want to come in and compete for that starting job. That's the kind of vibe that they got from me from that standpoint. So, yeah. Now Florida's up to 14 commits and apparently is going to boost up to 15 over the next coming days because Daniel Pierre-Louis is scheduled to flip towards Florida from FSU as well. So all in all, this is what a big win against a rival, because yes, Florida and LSU consider each other rivals. A big win against a rival like that in LSU in front of all those commitments with how crazy the Swamp is and the energy that comes from that stadium for a big game like that. That's the wonders that it can do for your recruiting. And right now, the staff is eating off of that right now. So good for Stephon Shivers and Tremel Jones Jr. that they decided that UF is where they want to go, and good on the UF staff for continuously staying on these guys even when their job security was getting questioned in front of the whole world. They stayed with the grind. They did not quit, and they have absolutely saved their recruiting, are in the process of saving their recruiting class right now, and they also are a threat to some elite recruits towards the end of the season. I saw that Steve Wilfong is also saying that Florida is a threat to Dallas Wilson, a 5-star receiver from Oregon, but we'll see where that goes from there. It's a big win for the staff that they might be on, that they appear to be on the precipice of finally getting their first winning record in Gainesville, but they are also in the process of saving their recruiting class from almost utter disaster. So all in all, go Gators.